You know a lot about golf.
Well, we're waiting.
That means it's time for us, and we are us. Those Weekend Golf Guys. I'm John Ashton in the studio. He is Jeff Smith in the Golf Cave, Edinburgh, Indiana, Timbergate Golf Course. Got a lot of stuff coming up today. We have a couple of success stories. People who have done nothing more than listen intently to Mr. Jeff Smith.
You know, it's kind of fun to see and hear the successes of people who are just paying attention to our show.
Yeah, that's it. And the people who actually understand that it's enough to give credit. We'll get into it in a few minutes and explain in greater detail, but it's really nice to know that probably if one person writes to you and says, hey, this happened, there are myriad others who do not take the time to write. Maybe they don't equate their improvement with listening to us. That's okay. You don't have to give us a credit just as long as you keep playing the game and keep listening. Also, and this is something I didn't even know about, and I live 42 miles away from the Lexington, Kentucky Country Club, but there's a woman named Marion Miley back in the 30s. She was one of the best women golfers in the world. She had been on a couple of Curtis Cup teams, and she had won some bunch of women's amateur championships. And in a match, she actually outdrove Babe Zaharias.
Mm-hmm.
And she was murdered.
Ooh.
Yeah, in a robbery attempt at the Lexington Country Club. And there's a book out about it called, oddly enough, The Murder of Marion Miley. But it's quite a story. Not just the story about the murder, but also the story of Marion Miley in and of itself. Famous. I mean, she hobnobbed. She played golf with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby and all those dudes, man. In fact, Bing Crosby put up a reward to get the name of the person who killed her. But again, we'll talk about that later on too. There's a book out by it, and the author of the book is going to be with us a little bit later on in the show. And what else are we going to talk about? Oh, we're going to talk about using golf for business.
Because we do that.
We do that as often. We used to do it a lot when we could actually like hobnob with people.
Yeah.
But now, we can't. We have to wait for it.
We'll get back to hobnobbing. Don't worry.
Yeah. And the good news is that this past week, on the 20th, Club Champion reopened all of their locations.
Good for them.
So you can get a fitting now at Club Champion. There will be video up on our website very shortly about, well, again, I'll tell you about that later, but you can get fit and everything is cool. Golf is back. 90% of the courses in the country are open, and we're ready to go. And we'll be back in just a few minutes and do just that. We are those Weekend Golf Guys. Anyone who has dealt with erectile dysfunction knows how awkward it can be to talk about it in person. Luckily, there is a simple, convenient solution to get the treatment you need, all without leaving your couch. Our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform that can connect you with a doctor licensed in your state, all from the comfort of your home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need right from home. Just pick up your phone, go to your computer, whichever, complete a free online visit, and you will hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. And if the doctor decides the treatment's right for you, your medication can be shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. You also get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime you have questions or want to adjust your treatment plan. With Roman, there are no commitments, and you can cancel at any time. So if you're struggling with ED, stay home and go to GetRoman.com/weekend for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's GetRoman.com/weekend for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. You know, golfers, we love gear. It's a big part of our game, and we put a lot of time and let's face it, a lot of money into getting it right, whether we're researching our next irons or maybe even testing out some new tees. But there is one important piece of equipment that we overlook: your golf cart battery. Most of us don't consider the quality of our battery. That is until it dies and we're stranded out in the middle of the course. That's why we want you to know about the Rely-On Insight battery, the intelligent golf cart battery that utilizes intuitive software for better performance and fewer disconnects. The Rely-On Insight battery is powered by lithium, not lead acid, so it charges faster, provides more range, and requires no maintenance. It's a drop-in replacement, so just connect and go. You can learn more at RelyOnBattery.com/golfguys and use our special promo code GolfGuys for 10% off. Plus, you'll get a free charger when you order 2 or more Insight batteries. Again, that's RelyOnBattery.com/golfguys. and use promo code GolfGuys. And no other lithium battery compares to Rely-On's. Order yours today. Okay, those Weekend Golf Guys, it is us, John Ashton, along with Jeff Smith. We get letters. Yeah, we do. Joe, I hope you... I'm not going to give your last name, Joe, but Joe is an avid listener, and he sent us a little comment on the Facebook page at facebook.com/golfguys. Said, I listen to those Weekend Golf Guys every week. In fact, I binged on the podcasts during the lockdown period. It must have helped. I played 3 times since the courses opened back up on 3 different tracks, and I had a 9-hole score of 35, which is what, 1 under par for 9 usually, then a 77, and finally a best ever for me, 74, playing 18 on each.
He is paying attention.
He is. And then we got another guy who his name's Brad, and he said, I just hit the easiest, best shot of my life. My drive on number 6 right now just went 290 yards, and it felt so smooth and effortless.
I love getting reports from people that were helping somehow, right? One more of our listeners has now converted to being a full-time student of mine.
Fantastic.
He's Mark from Kentucky.
All right.
And I had a webinar with him just last night.
Cool.
A web lesson. He was at his place. I'm hanging out in the golf studio, and we're talking about how to fix his ball flight. And this guy's got something to go practice, and he understands exactly what's going to happen. He's going to go out to the range today. You know it. And I know, and he knows exactly what the ball's going to be.
And then when he finishes that bucket, he's going to call a friend he wants to show off in front of. And say,
he's going to make him a bet.
Yeah, come play 18. Yeah, we'll play buck a hole. How's that sound?
Yeah. Winner pays for the round. I've always had people sending me notes, right? And please do, at those Weekend Golf Guys address. And I love to hear that you're doing well. I love to hear that you're listening. And if you want some clarification on something else, we can set that stuff up too. I do all kinds of stuff. Like I just mentioned, web lessons and on and on. So whatever driving range you're on, I got a guy. They got a couple guys in Texas. I got a guy in Northern California. I got a guy in Massachusetts. I got a guy in North Carolina. And I even have a guy in Hong Kong. How about that? A dude in Hong Kong who listens to our show. Yeah. So I'm getting to the studio early in the morning, and it's late at night there for him. Right. So we try to pick 8 o'clock. So yeah, we can get all this done. It's fun because he listened to the podcast.
That's all you need to do, people.
Are getting better because they're listening.
Some people think that I'm just, blowing smoke. I don't hang much, Jeff. I mean, it's about 137-mile trip between where I am and where he is at the moment. So we don't hang out. I
just wanted everybody to know that really was kind of my choice.
I don't get to the course he's at very often. I don't get to the golf cave very often. Most of the improvement that has happened with me has been just talk from Jeff. I ask a question, he answers it, it works. I've been getting quite better myself, as I have explained repeatedly, probably ad nauseum on the show for the past 5 or 6 years. One thing I did, however, I played a couple times last week, and one time I played at a course that was a little bit more difficult than what I normally do, and it was raining for the first half of the round. So let's just say my score was not as stellar as some of them have been recently. And
nobody plays well in the rain, right? They feel miserable.
I know.
They got wet clothes on.
It's uncomfortable. You can't, it's terrible. But anyhow, I've been using this new app that you recommended to me, Swing U.
Right, but as far as a GPS kind of thing, it works pretty well.
It works real well. And it also keeps track of, it knows the course you're playing, but it knows what the slope is and all that kind of stuff and the ratings, and it helps figure your handicap as you are playing. So far this year's mine's a 9.7, by the way, as of yesterday, including this rather bad round I had last Thursday.
How about that?
But I went to finish number 18, and I hit the button on save round. And this app has got an attitude, man, because it just came up on the screen and said, "Are you sure you want to save this round?"
You sure about this one, pal? Oh, that's great. That's great. I'm calling up the people, and I am going to absolutely give kudos to the programmer on that one. You sure about this?
If we were you, you might want to rethink this, buddy. Now, a lot of the stuff that you need to do in golf is really not visual if you have somebody like Jeff who can explain it to you. Because Jeff is good at painting the word pictures. It's one of the conversations we had with Ed last week.
Bargwin, yes.
That is so much easier if you can talk in English and explain what you're trying to do. But if you get on a web, you can actually see it too. And visually, you can get a better idea. But I just got to tell you, man, if you want to get better, just talk to Jeff and talk to him directly because it's really good.
Well, you know what I've found is that many players that have sent me notes have appreciated the fact that I'm actually able to clearly talk to them on the radio about this, and that I can clean up problems in their head because I'm not using golf speak.
Right. That's the major point.
So many people tell me, my gosh, what you're saying makes so much sense. And I used to think this and this and this and this and this, and it was just a bunch of golf speak that conflicted with each other, and it conflicted in their minds, and they just didn't know where to go. So I really think that the majority of golf instruction, some of the trouble that people have run into as coaches is using the wrong language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think that they're using the wrong language to make themselves sound smart. I think that they're using the wrong language because it's just the lingo that is used in golf, the jargon.
Yeah.
As if everybody is born knowing exactly what that is. But people who play the game and they have different lives and they're not dyed-in-the-wool golfers and don't know every word of something in terms of what it really means to them, jargon's a problem.
And I bet you, case in point, like me, most of us don't ask for clarification because we assume if we were a golfer, we would know what that meant. So we don't think it's something that the person speaking the jargon should explain to us. It's something that we feel almost guilty about not knowing.
Yeah, so that way you're feeling bad about it, and you don't want to admit that to the coach,
right,
or to the instructor.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to ask what that means because I think that's common, and I shouldn't.
I should know.
No, I'll just nod my head.
Yeah, but I mean, case in point, raise your hands. How many people actually know what to do if someone were to tell you to open your stance? What would you do if someone said strengthen your grip? Because it doesn't mean hold it tighter.
The words in golf that are used commonly that make me insane. You just pulled out two of them as great examples, right?
Yep.
So let's start with open. All right, let's say you're a right-handed golfer, because most of the golfers in the world are. We have a target line in our minds, and our bodies are set in line with the target, as in the same direction, right? Mm-hmm. And we call that to be square. But yet, isn't square a 90-degree angle?
You would think.
So that's confusing. And then, John, you just mentioned it. What if we said open your stance? What does that mean? So if you're a right-handed golfer, you're supposed to angle your body line left of the target some. And we call that opening. Mm-hmm. But John, here's the rub of this. If I said, John, open up your club face, you wouldn't turn it a little bit left of the target line like you just did your body.
No.
You'd actually point it to the right some of the target line. And now if you said, well, open up your body and open up your club face, you've just done two opposite direction things. And now you're completely confused because the word open in golf is really stupid.
You're calling it the same thing. So listen.
And guess what? The word closed is equally stupid, and it means the opposite. The body line would then be pointed right at the target, and the club face would be pointed then left of the target. And that's the same word. And that's just dumb.
Yeah. So if you want some lessons, you want to understand something, without having to ask for a translation. Get them in English from Jeff. He's great about it. We're going to talk to a gentleman who's expert at playing golf for business, and also to a woman named Beverley Bell, who wrote the book about to be released called The Murder of Marion Miley. That's all coming up. Hang with us. We are those Weekend Golf Guys. Anyone who has dealt with erectile dysfunction knows how awkward it can be to talk about it in person. Luckily, there is a simple, convenient solution to get the treatment you need, all without leaving your couch. Our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform that can connect you with a doctor licensed in your state, all from the comfort of your home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need right from home. Just pick up your phone, go to your computer, whichever, complete a free online visit, and you will hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. And if the doctor decides the treatment's right for you, your medication can be shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. You also get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime you have questions or want to adjust your treatment plan. With Roman, there are no commitments, and you can cancel at any time. So if you're struggling with ED, stay home and go to GetRoman.com/weekend for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's GetRoman.com/weekend for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. And thanks for hanging and coming back. We are those Weekend Golf Guys. I am John Ashton, and we have got a famous author, or soon-to-be famous author, Beverley Bell, with us here. Now, I want to go over something, and I've got to apologize, Beverley, but until I saw your work, it officially came out this past week, though, right? The book, The Murder of Marion Miley?
Yes, it has. It did come out May 19th. Was the official launching date, yeah.
I've lived in Louisville for 30 years. I had no idea Marion Miley actually existed. And that's something I think we should probably try to educate the entire golfing world on. But in a nutshell, make sure I got it right. But Marion Miley was a very good amateur golfer. She won a bunch of women's amateur championships. She was on the Curtis Cup team, 3 consecutive times?
Yes, 3 times.
Hung out with the rich and the famous. Played golf with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope and those guys. Did an awful lot of traveling around the country, doing golf tournaments and showing off. And at one time, actually outdrove in a head-to-head celebrity match, I guess, outdrove Babe Dietrichson Zaharias, who basically is the
epic
woman.
Battle. Yeah, epic battle. Well, you're not the only person who doesn't and who didn't know who Marion Miley was. When she was at her peak, she was one of the dominant American women golfers. Golf for Women was just had like amateur tournaments. There really wasn't any kind of a professional circuit, certainly not like we know it today.
Right.
And these tournaments were held all over the country, kind of dominated by the South, mainly, I guess, because of the weather.
Yeah.
But she was part of a whole scene, actually, when women's golf just was skyrocketing in popularity with fans. And in some circles, the game was more popular. The women's game was more popular than the men's.
There are some good reasons for that, but I'll sound too shallow if I actually go into any great detail, so I won't do that. Like, her dad was a golf pro. I sometimes think that golf is genetic, because
it does kind of seem that way. She was the only child of a golf pro. I would think that something was passed along in the genes.
It would have to
be. She didn't take up the game until she was like 12, probably like less than 5 years later. Mm-hmm. She wins her first tournament. From then on, it was just a continued rise and conquering more and more of those leading amateur tournaments along the way. So, she said that she loved playing with her father more than anyone else. He was known to be kind of tough, but from everything I could see, it was a good relationship, that she had with him as well as her mother. I think he saw the light within her, and he was going to do everything he could to bring it out. And I would say he was very successful in that attempt.
Well, reading the biographies and knowing what I know historically of golf in the Southeast in the late 1920s, early 1930s, I would be willing to bet she would have been a household name in women's golf had she not been murdered.
Absolutely. She was a household name. When her murder was reported, it was reported all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It was the front page, top of the fold of the New York Times. It appeared in papers in Great Britain, France, Australia, Canada, Mexico, just all over the world.
Beverley Bell, the author of Murder of Marion Miley, is our guest right now. And what got you interested in this story? And has anybody else done justice to it like you have done prior to this, or are you the first person to attack it?
There have been 2 other books that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I think mine is different in the approach, but there was one actually written in the 50s, and it focused on, without giving too much of it away, the 3 men who were
accused,
convicted and executed for the crime. It focused on him and actually a religious conversion that he experienced. The second book came out in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. It
was from the perspective of the warden at the prison where the men were waiting. That wasn't the type of book that I wanted to write.
Right.
I wanted to tell the story of this incredible life, which, it's just kind of surprising to me that the first 2, Marion was not the focus of those books.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about her impact. And as you know, I tell the story from 3 different perspectives,
mm-hmm.
from her father and from her best friend.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to show what a loss of this magnitude would mean, to those left behind. Her mother was also killed at the same time as Marion. So her being an only child, a father is left with, unimaginable grief.
Mm-hmm.
And a best friend who met Marion when she first came to Lexington. Marion's father took the job at the Lexington Country Club as the golf pro. And so she arrived when she was about 16. Graduated early from high school, and anyway, so she meets this other young girl, and they become best friends. So my story is really I'm trying to look at it, 360 degrees. What this would feel like, someone of this just incredible talent, and golf was only one area where she was very talented.
Oh, I know.
And to tell that story. And of course, the third person that I use as a perspective is one of the men who committed the crime.
Yeah, definitely. It's a work of fiction, yet based totally in fact. I'm only through half of it, but that's only because I had to stop and go to bed because it's it's hard to put down. It really is.
It is very much grounded in the facts. Her life, decided to approach it from the fictional standpoint, but I knew that I wanted it totally grounded in the reality of her life and her experiences. Mm-hmm. And I think I did that. Like you said, I did for the dialogue and a few other things.
It's not like, those things were being recorded,
Exactly. Although her life certainly was recorded in terms of, newspaper and radio.
That's true.
That was how how our world was reported, and she was written about in every way imaginable. Mm-hmm. What she liked to eat, what she wore, who she was dating. I guess it's not that different from today, but it was just a couple of main media choices in that time. But she was certainly reported on every day. Seemed like of her life. Yeah,
she was a superstar.
She really was, and I don't know how she did it, but she learned pretty early on that she had to manage this media presence. Mm-hmm. And she was so poised about it. There are newspaper articles where they're throwing her, different questions. And, she just manages it. And I guess that comes from practice, but she clearly had that ability to, to be in the public eye. I don't know, sort of manage her persona.
I'm not sure which comes first when you are a champion like that, the being great at what you do or being able to relate to the audience very well. Because there are a lot of people who are good at what they do, but they don't get recognized because they don't make people feel like they like them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Not everybody has that skill. Right. I mean, lots of people are good. They're good at something, but it's when you have to communicate that relatability, as you said. I don't know. I'm sure you can learn it to a certain degree. I feel like, though, with her, there was something innate. She was very, very skilled in this. And she was so young, she wins her first tournament when she's 17, and she's pretty much on the national stage by the time, even before her 20th birthday. And, just out there in the world, traveling, on her own and figuring it all out. I think it's one of the reasons why, later in her 20s that Standard Oil hired her, because I think they saw somebody with a, great kind of skill with people. And, when they hired her to inspect, gas stations and, meet with local, local business leaders or, whatever, that just was unheard of.
Yeah.
Companies just didn't do that.
Now they do it
but
all
she
the
was
time.
Also, I will say, she was also very pretty. She was kind of like an all-American girl if you've seen pictures of her.
Thank you for bringing that up, because again, I didn't want to appear totally, shallow, but she was described by a lot of people at the time as being very photogenic. Which basically means she was gorgeous.
She really was. She really pretty dimples. In some pictures you can see a few, but she just had this great kind of natural, beauty to her. And some of the pictures you just think, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There's a picture of her with another golfer on a beach in Florida, and I'm just like, this was a very pretty girl, not taking away anything, from the rest of her.
Right. She won basically every amateur tournament with the exception of the the U.S. Women's Amateur.
Isn't that heartbreaking? Yes.
But she would have gotten there eventually. And there's more to the story of Marion Miley. There's more to the murder of Marion Miley, and there's a lot more conversations with Beverley Bell. Hang out with us, because we are coming right back. Chronic pain is the worst. It's worse than just discomfort, because it affects your entire life. You can't get comfortable. You probably have some trouble sleeping, or you don't want to exercise, or you don't want to walk around. It's been ongoing for a few weeks, and it hasn't improved with any of the stuff you've tried. What are you going to do? You just don't sit on the couch and give up. You try a thing called Omax Health Cryo-Freeze CBD Roll-On. It's great. It's non-prescription. Triple action pain relief roll-on specifically formulated to block all pain receptors, to reduce inflammation, and to improve muscle and joint flexibility. And the best part is it's 100% natural. CBD-powered remedy works its magic within 10 minutes, and the relief can last up to 8 hours. Take it from me. I know my knees stink. They're bad. I play golf, and by about the 11th or 12th hole, it's hurting to walk. Put a little of that on. By 18, I'm fine, man. I am fine, and I don't come home all achy and painy as I used to. You got to try it. I can help you try it. Omax Health is offering all of our listeners 20% off a full bottle of CryoFreeze CBD Pain Relief Roll-On. Plus, they'll ship it to you for free. And this discount also applies toward any other products site-wide, and they've got a lot of great stuff. Check them out. OmaxHealth.com. Go there today and enter the code WEEKEND. That's OMAXHealth.com, and enter the code WEEKEND, and you will get 20% off CryoFreeze and anything else site-wide. Kyle Stanley uses it when he plays golf and for other stuff, too. And Look at 95% of the 5-star reviews. They've got page after page after page of customers saying, this stuff works. So you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe them. Get a bottle and try it for yourself. You can believe yourself, okay? omaxhealth.com. Enter the code WEEKEND. Get 20% off or anything site-wide. omaxhealth.com. Go there now. Enter the code WEEKEND. You'll thank me for it later. Hey, thanks for hanging with us. We are those Weekend Golf Guys. I am John Ashton. We have Beverley Bell, the author of the book that's just come out about the golfing legend Marion Miley. Now, she won almost every amateur tournament available, right?
Oh, except for the National.
Yep.
She made it twice to the semis in that tournament.
Yep.
After reading about her game so much, I came to my own conclusions. I just felt like she always peaked just a little too early. The National was typically played in September, and it just seemed like her game was peaking maybe a month earlier or 6 weeks earlier. And I kind of just want to reach out, to her through time and go, just slow it down. Just, if you just, don't play as many.
Just tell Bing you can't play with them this week. You gotta save yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And Bing is just going to have to understand you are going to, when I was writing it, I would call it her Forrest Gump moments.
Okay.
Because we always know the movie, with Tom Hanks and how Forrest Gump had all these meetings with these famous people. And I was just like, she's just like Forrest Gump, except hers were real.
So Beverley, how's your golf game?
Oh, not as good as I'd like it to be. I've had some chronic kind of injury, but that's the other thing that I really want to, when I think about this, book and I think about Marion, it really doesn't matter if you're not the same level as a professional or something like that. What matters is if you enjoy the game.
That's it.
If you just like being out there.
Yep.
That's the lesson that I learned from writing this.
I just wondered, has delving into Marion's life gotten you any inspiration to play more, play better, play more seriously or anything like that? Yeah,
for sure. I've said to my husband, we've got to get out there. We've just got to get out there. In fact, I have a teacher. I started working with her a couple of years ago, kind of, dipping my toe in the water. Got a message from her yesterday, and she's like, "Are you ready? Can you come out now? Can you?" And I was like, "Yes, I want to. I want to." It's a beautiful place to be, and I know you're only halfway through the book, but I really also wanted to capture that. It was really important to me to just try and capture, some of the beauty, some of the way you feel when you're out there, and because it's not just about. It's not just about new golf clubs or the newest piece of equipment or this ball or, it's really just being there, out there. And hey, maybe every once in a while you hit a great shot and you're just flying along with it. Yeah. Is that the way it feels? And you're just in that moment.
That is it. And if you're only going to hit one great shot in a round, it usually happens on the 18th hole.
So you can just carry that with
That's
you,
right. Just enough to make sure you're coming back again tomorrow or whenever. Yeah. Yeah.
The golf gods figured it out. If they gave us a last great shot, that we would come back and go, I can do this. I can master this game.
Oh, we tell people consistently, and my co-host who had to go teach somebody at this moment and was not, regrettably was not able to join us. He firmly believes in using your body to play the game, not adapting your body to play the game. And before he does anything, the first time I met him, he put a club in my hand and he said, swing it. And I was like, I don't play well enough. No, I'm embarrassed. I'm not going to swing. I'm not going to swing in front of you. It's the same reason I don't go to a gym. I have to get in shape before I can join a gym. Play the game, not adapting your body to play the game. And before he does anything, the first time I met him, he put a club in my hand and he said, swing it. But I swung and he noticed a few things. Like I cannot overlap my grip because I had a high school basketball accident that dislocated a couple fingers. So I have to put 10 fingers in. He said, that's fine. You can do that. Every other teacher I ever had said, no, you got to interlock or overlap. That's the only way you can do this. Mm-hmm. And he can just make it better the way you do move, not telling you how you have to move to do it. And that's one thing is you can adapt yourself to this game. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. No matter how well you can move or how well you can't move, it's a game for life for everybody, no matter what kind of shape you're in. Right?
That's just, it's incredible. Yeah. And I don't know. I just think it kind of speaks to the spirit of the game. That's what I mean. You know, we've gotten so caught up again in the equipment and like you said, making very specific terms, and you sort of, sometimes you just kind of lose the beauty of it. Mm-hmm. And just how in that moment you can be, you know, when you hit a shot well, and even when you don't, you know, mm-hmm. it's, you know, I've read a lot about Marion and short irons. She had some issues with those, but you know, it was always like, okay, move on. Let's just move on. You know, and that's what you need to do. Just move on, enjoy the moment.
That's right.
Get out there.
The most important shot in every round of golf is the next one.
There you go. That's exactly right.
Do you think that this book, and again, we're talking with Beverley Bell, who a new book came out last week called Murder of Marion Miley. And Marion Miley was a phenomenal woman golfer who was murdered at the Lexington Country Club here in Lexington, Kentucky. And do you think maybe, especially since she was so attractive and she was running in such high social circles, I mean, even with the British royalty she hung out with, more women might have gotten more involved in golf at an earlier time? Well,
you know, she was certainly in her own right. You know, she was a leading golfer, mm-hmm. and she also happened to be in a circle of golfers at that time who, in my opinion, I think that they did some really serious groundwork in sort of laying the foundation for the women's game, and then eventually, which would lead to the formation of the LPGA.
Right.
So, you know, there were a number of women out there who were just generating so much interest, women playing the game, and also just men wanting to see, mm-hmm. you know, these women compete. Yeah. I think that entire time during the 30s was just so critical because, see, then what happened, you know, she was killed about 10 weeks before the attack at Pearl Harbor. And so everything became about this country's, you know, effort in the war.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, it finally ends in 1945. Some tournaments didn't resume until, you know, later and until 1946. So you had this gap, you know, that was rightfully dedicated to the war effort. Mm-hmm. But those women in the 30s leading up to right before the beginning of World War II for the United States, you know, what they did in terms of just creating the interest in the game and just expanding that audience. That's really what was happening, that these women were competing all over the place. Mm-hmm. And as a result, there were lots of people watching them all over the place,
right,
including women. Yeah.
Yeah. And that translated finally into the start of the LPGA. It's just women's golf has grown to a point where now we just need to get more women involved on an amateur level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyday level, you know.
I would love to see that. I don't know, John, I don't know how you feel about it. I feel like as a country, maybe we've just dropped the ball. Well, no pun intended, mm-hmm. In terms of promoting it to women. You know, certainly you see in South Korea, the great interest in the game, in the women's game. We haven't been as effective as we certainly could be.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing in terms of making the game accessible to folks. In Mary's time, she was a golf pro's daughter, but that was not considered, you know, some high level of society.
No, it wasn't.
You know, they were, you know, golf pros were considered sort of, working class.
They were the hired help big time.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. They were the hired help. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
My interest in the game, growing up, we were not the country club set. I didn't start playing until my 20s. We just need to do a better job in making the game accessible to all different kind of folks.
Not just accessible.
I don't know if it's an equipment issue, like because things can be expensive if you take up the game, or but these are they're challenges.
I think it's an attitude issue. To be honest with you, attitude on the part of the industry itself. They don't go out of their way to make golf welcoming to women. A lot of people will tell you that, it's intimidating to pull into the parking lot if you're not exactly sure what you should do or where you should go.
Right. And that's what I mean about accessibility, just breaking down some of those barriers that keep people, from playing it or taking it up. It's like any other.
And you walk into the average clubhouse and you're going to see shirts and shoes and clubs, and none of it is designed for women.
Yeah.
They got the women's stuff in the back or, somewhere else. Oh, yeah, we've got a few of those for women if you want. One of the things we do here, too, on the side, and try to teach women how to use golf in business, for business.
And there's certainly been efforts in that.
Yeah.
In that area, and some of them have been successful.
Yeah,
I guess what it may need is a more sustainable, something that can be sustained effort. To if whatever business you're in, and hey, you play golf, well, let's go out, and then you've opened a door in a business setting, and you definitely some challenges we have not been very successful in.
Yeah, I mean, just don't let it intimidate you. It's an intimidating game. It is. It's a tough game, but keep in mind that the stuff you see on TV is the exception to the rule. That's not how normal people play golf.
Those people aren't normal.
No, they're not. They are superhuman. That's right.
You can't hit shots like that. Don't even think about it. It's not possible.
When you see,
it's hilarious to me. People wouldn't think that they could go out, and play like, I don't know, Kevin Durant or, whoever, in basketball, but somehow they think they're supposed to, be able to hit a golf shot.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching a tournament a couple of weeks ago, one of the, tournaments from days gone by because of the social distancing thing and the quarantine. And it was, I forget who it was. One of the pros was hitting into the green on a par 5. He was 230 yards away and he used a 7-iron. Come on. Real people don't use 7-irons to go 230 yards. I can't do that with my driver half the time.
That's right.
Come on, people. And I think that's probably the mindset. Like you said, people just expect, I'm not going to be able to go play football like Tom Brady or, basketball like Larry Bird or any of those guys, but I expect to be able to play golf. No, it's unreal.
No sense at all.
It isn't. At all. Beverley Bell is called Murder of Marion Miley. And even just for the story of Marion herself, get the book. It's a fantastic read. Hard to put down unless somebody comes and says, John, you've got to get up in the morning early, so go to sleep. Okay. But it's great. Available wherever books are sold, I would imagine. Again, it's Murder of Marion Miley, Beverley Bell, the author. And, we were originally scheduled to talk for about 10 minutes, but it was so fascinating. We've gone much longer than I intended. I'd have no qualms about it. So
I really enjoy it. Thank you. Once we get talking about golf, who wants to stop?
Exactly. And, you're local. You're in Kentucky, right?
Lexington, Kentucky.
Kentucky. I'm in Shelbyville. Let's go play golf.
Let's go.
All right.
I'm in.
We'll give you a call. We'll hook it up.
Okay.
All right, Beverley.
Thanks so much, John.
Thank you. And thanks for spending some time with us here on those Weekend Golf Guys. Anyone who has dealt with erectile dysfunction knows how awkward it can be to talk about it in person. Luckily, there is a simple, convenient solution to get the treatment you need, all without leaving your couch. Our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform that can connect you with a doctor licensed in your state, all from the comfort of your home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need right from home. Just pick up your phone, go to your computer, whichever, complete a free online visit, and you will hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. And if the doctor decides the treatment's right for you, your medication can be shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. You also get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime you have questions or want to adjust your treatment plan. With Roman, there are no commitments, and you can cancel at any time. So if you're struggling with ED, stay home and go to GetRoman.com/weekend for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's GetRoman.com/weekend for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. If you're in sales, you know that people buy things from people they know, they like, and they trust. It can take forever to build that kind of a relationship unless you use golf. Business golf is the quickest way to build trust with your clients and potential customers. TheBusinessGolfCourse.com. Go there now and check it out. Hey, a few moments together yet. I think all in all, it's been a rather educational program for the past hour.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty dang interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea that she was such a big deal golfer, that Marion Miley. She could have been like the reigning female superstars had things not ended so tragically and so early for her. She was only 31.
Oh. And I'm not much of a golf historian, and I found that to be pretty interesting. I'm just kind of sitting back going, oh, wow.
Yeah. It's always nice to revisit some of the people who have made contributions to the game.
You know, earlier you mentioned that 90% of the golf courses in the country are now open.
Mm-hmm.
I have this to say to the 10% who are not open.
Yes, sesame.
Just open it up. Just go play.
That's it.
Right?
It's outdoors. It's fine.
Right. Got
a chance to watch the last weekend's PGA Skins game.
Yeah.
With Dustin and Rory and man, what's
Matt
that move with that kid from Oklahoma State, man? That little
Matt Wolf. How about that thing?
Hip swing, man.
How about that thing? Right?
Like that
dude's one on tour, man.
That's a power move, man.
Yeah, it is. Guy's got a tour victory.
Yeah, and a 356-yard drive.
That's nothing to sneeze at for sure. But, here's the best part about that. What a great example of somebody who's learned what his body can do, and he's maximizing it,
mm-hmm.
and he's repeating it. It's powerful. It's repeatable. He's making it accurate. Come on, man, play golf.
Yeah, and he's one of those
doing it.
And he's one of those guys that's going to be remembered for that because it is so unique. I don't know how many kids are going to be out there trying to copy it, emulate the move.
There's a ton. There's a ton.
Have absolutely no idea why they're doing it. They just do it because that Matt Wolf does it. So anyhow. So whether you want to emulate the power move or you want to just get a couple of lessons online from Jeff, look at his website, which is JeffSmithGolfInstruction.com.
It is. JeffSmithGolfInstruction.com. I still have the Plain and Simple Golf School, but I will tell you that most of the information about me is now on my new website at JeffSmithGolfInstruction.com.
All right, so check them out. Figure out what you're doing wrong. Figure out how to do it right. Get yourself some golf clubs, and hey, go play some golf. I'd be willing to bet that multiple occasions in the past 2 or 3 months, you have sat back and said, man, I wish I had a simulator. Wouldn't it have been so much easier if you just had a simulator in the house to get through this whole quarantine thing? I know it would. 2 years ago, we talked to a guy named Kevin Rosenberg from a company called P3 Pro Swing. They have a simulator. Let's listen. And we are back, those weekend golf guys. John Ashton in studio, Jeff Smith at the Golf Cave, and on the line with us, Kevin Rosenberg, right? Kevin, I get that right?
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great up here in the state of Maine.
Yeah, man, it's always nice to talk to a fellow homeboy up there in Maine, man. We're not in Maine anymore, but we will be soon, only for a week, but we look forward to it every year. It's like a homecoming. Go see the family, have a good time. Let's talk about golf practice, because you must be very familiar with the concept of practicing indoors, because here we are in May, and your golf course is just now opened for the season.
Yeah. In our part of our little part of the country, climate definitely plays a part of how many times you get out and play, and how well you can retain your game and really, keep on point, in the off season. Yeah. And our off season happens to be 8 months. So indoor golf play and practice really come into play into aiding in helping that.
All right. So the name of the company is
the name of our brand is P3 Pro Swing.
P3 Pro Swing is the
which
brand.
Which is practice, play, perform.
Just said something John can't handle.
I know. And we manufacture a golf simulator that captures both swing information as well as golf ball information and makes that into a full simulated playable game that you're able to play on 150 plus virtual courses that replicate some of the best around the world, from Pebble Beach to St. Andrews, to going to the driving range and being able to, get down and dirty and hit a bottomless bucket of balls on the driving range, and seeing your full swing analytics, what your club's doing before, at, and after impact, if you're leaving that club face open, if you're closing it, if you're coming inside out, and we provide all that data with every swing, whether you're playing on course or on the driving range.
Well, let me ask both of you guys, because Jeff is a world-renowned golf instructor, and Kevin, you're very
it's a small world.
Yeah, and Kevin's very familiar with the whole idea of golf instruction. I'm an amateur golfer that's not very good, never been very good, and as Jeff said, part of the problem is because I find I have a fear and loathing of practice. But now if I've got one of these P3 Pro Swing simulators and I've got the screen in front of me and I'm hitting balls playing one of those 150 courses, is it enough for me to be able to visually see what my ball does? Or how do I learn? Do I have to go to a guy like you guys to say, okay, these are the numbers. What the heck does this mean? And what do I do about it?
Well, I think, looking at just the number, just seeing your ball fly, it's going to be tough to really break down anything that you're doing wrong.
Right.
And you're really going to only get it from the I feel good and man, that looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
And where our simulator kind of helps you out is we provide you, well, this is what your club did to get the ball to do that. And by seeing that, I think it opens opportunity for a lot of people learning that way. They need to see the action to help change the next action. That's a good part of the learning part. Another is muscle memory, and you guys can speak to this, is if you keep doing it the same way, over and over again, it's only going to become commonplace and you're going to be better at it. But I think, indoor golf, helps bridge that gap by showing you a little bit of what the club is doing and the ball is doing to get that result. So you can change it, or in my case, just keep doing it over and over again.
The muscle memory works both ways, man.
Jordan's got the product, but he doesn't have me.
You can keep doing the same thing. If it's right, it helps. If you keep doing the same thing and it's wrong, then you really screw yourself up.
Right.
Which is the case most of us bad golfers have found ourselves in. We've just been doing it wrong for so long. It comes second nature to us, So we need something like this to figure out what's right.
Numbers on monitors and things that, like Jordan's got a good product here that tells you, because it sees what the club is doing and it sees the club face position and it sees the club path coming into the golf ball and then right after the golf ball gets struck.
Right.
Yeah.
And it morphs those things together, takes the readings, and it tells you what the heck's going on right through the impact zone. If your club's moving in a certain way and there's a pattern to it, okay, that's your swing. But what if there's a face position problem that goes along with that? It doesn't get them close enough together. It's one of the things that you learn, and that's how balls curve and go sideways on you, John, is the combination of the things that the P3 Pro Swing measures.
Right.
It's the club face position, at impact and just prior to, and what's the swing direction.
Yeah.
And, once you get those two bits of information, John, you'll see ball flight, and then you get those numbers on this thing. They jump out at you as you say, oh, then you can basically begin to understand what the numbers would produce.
Right.
Because you see the correlation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you could use this, an individual could use this as a learning device, not just something that showed him his ball flight and not understand why.
Right.
You could be learning from it if you put the things together.
Yeah. It's another tool in your tool shed of becoming, a better golfer to enjoy the game or to be competitive. But, it really takes the entertainment piece of it to the next level as it has some value in your game.
Yeah.
And it really can show you the way to use technology to enjoy the sport a little bit better, and that's what at P3 Pro Swing Golf Simulators, we really have been, striving to do, allowing people to save their shot analysis, to be able to send it to their coach. Hey, I'm going to send you 50 shots I took with my pitching wedge. So you can tell me, why do I keep, ending up looking for my ball, 9 shots out of 10 to the right, and golf simulation, we have some coaches that are using the online platform, right through our website, p3proswing.com to get, those connections done at a convenient location and a convenient time. Possibilities of using the indoor golf and training really are just scratching the surface right now, and we're trying to bring some of that to light to the whole golfing community.
And if you're in a climatic zone like Bethel, Maine, it gives you a way to have 3 of your closest friends over and play golf, even when the Mother Nature is not cooperating.
We've transformed many garages in New England, in the upper Midwest, in the Chicago, Wisconsin area, to extend those seasons, to bring the neighborhood together, to kind of, create a little community. Your 3 guys that you're going to be meeting on a Saturday morning, in August. You guys are now meeting in December.
Yeah.
On a Sunday afternoon before the football game, you guys are getting 9 rounds in, and it's fun, but still you're keeping the game going. You're not losing. You're not having to spend a month scratching the dust off here come spring.
Yeah. So when you have a 5 or 6 month season, you don't want to take the first 6 weeks just trying to remember what you did last year and get back to it. Now, I know Jeff and a lot of teachers of his ilk have golf simulators in their practice areas or teaching areas. And they cost multiple thousands of dollars. I mean, we're talking 5 figures for a lot of the equipment Jeff's got in there. Yours is nowhere near that expensive, is it?
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time over the years at doing a lot of the building of our product in-house and in U.S. and not outsourcing, and we've fought and found a way to keep the cost low for the home consumer, as well as the golf professional.
You're suggesting that American engineers and American mathematicians get it right as opposed to having to use the German one? Right? That's a good suggestion right there, sir.
It could be, but no. But it's we've definitely strived to keep it the product down to $1,000 entry level price.
Fantastic.
To start the golf simulation that you wouldn't see, for over $20,000 is usually, just scratching the surface on getting into playing indoors.
Right, exactly.
And with our indoor simulator, coming in at that and actually having accurate data, not just being a toy that somebody has, sitting in their garage, it's an actual tool to help you improve the game. There's a lot of value that goes with that $1,000 to get you going and golfing year round.
Fantastic. So
I might add something to that.
Make it quick.
That it's consistent.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. So you got both. Pretty nice deal.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. We got booted. I thought there for a second. I got this little.
It did pause for a second.
Yeah, the little thing that said your internet is unstable. Kevin Rosenberg with P3 Pro Swing, up in Bethel, Maine. You get around the Saco Country Club any time in July, give me a buzz, man, and we can go play or something. Okay.
That sounds great. And
take the last few seconds we have together here for some shameless self-promotion, because everyone's going.
Sure, guys. You can find out more information on indoor golf simulators from P3 at P3proswing.com. Guys, thanks a lot for having me on today, and wish you the best, and I'll see you guys out on the course.
Same with you, Kevin. Take it
Thanks
easy.
So much.
And I'm glad the ice is finally melted, man. Take it easy.
Yeah. Have a great day.
You too, Kevin. And we are going to be right back. Don't you move. Would you like to get all this stuff a couple days early and totally commercial free? We can make that happen. Patreon.com/golfguys. Patreon.com/golfguys. Okay.